Well, hello and welcome to this week's Angler News KZN Fishing Report. Guys, what a time it is in KZN. It is truly phenomenal. We have got Garrick shoaling outside Durban. We have got keelback. We have got trout being dubbed the size of whales. And they are shared feeding in dirty water. Guys, it is truly phenomenal. We are going to get into all of it in great detail in the show. But before we do, as usual, some housekeeping. Special thanks to our sponsors, the Kingfisher and CMH Pinetown. Guys, the show could not be possible without them. So, as always, be sure to support those that support you. And in this case, our guys from CMH Proton and the Kingfisher. So guys, let's get into the show. Starting off down the south coast, it has been a mixed bag of fishing over this past week. There were days that were good, there were days that were bad. But the thing is, the most important thing is that we have got just literally 2 days to fish. That is Friday and Saturday. From Sunday, the weather turns bad. Now, I have got some visuals of the South Coast from our South Coast guru, Adam, and this is what it looks like.
Hi there guys, hi there Vinesh. So we're back down here at Uvongo pump station. Things are much better than what they were last week. Sea's a bit more settled. Not like the camera at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah, look, it's much better than last week. As we saw, that wind was pumping. Things are a bit sort of big here. The swells are a bit big every now and again, as you can see in the front here, but definitely fishable. I would say you'd obviously have to watch yourself standing on the rocks. Very good ground down at the front here. If you're going to be putting out a big bait, sliding out a big bait and stuff. Very, very nice ground. As you can see just in the distance over there, you've got some very, very shallow reef right up close. So nice place to go and try and scratch for a bronzy or a galleon. We get a bit of brusher down here now and again, so it's also a very good spot to try that out. Choice of baits just being up to the angler. We all know what works for them. So yeah, you've got some really, really good grounds down here. Nice little bay for the kids to come and mess around with, the quarantine, the pinkies and stuff up front here. They do tend to pull in on the high tide, so fairly safe for them. They obviously can just stand on the rocks down at the bottom here. As you can see, very nice and calm in that small little bay we've got here. So yeah, Vinesh, things looking a bit better on the south coast. Fishing's been a little bit slower this week, but I do predict things will start hottening up again. Shad have gone off the bites a bit, but I do suspect things will change in the coming days. But otherwise, for now, guys, tight lines.
Thank you, Adam. Guys, that was some good stuff from Adam. And how about those catches that were coming out? Hey, special shout out to Gordon and his grandson. That was a truly remarkable catch over there as well, especially to show the juniors how it is done. Guys, on our podcast this week, we were talking about fishing with the juniors. Jesse goes into great detail about that. So make sure to go and listen to our podcast with getting the juniors involved. Now, let's move on down to Warner Beach, where I have chatted with Gary from the Kingfisher, and Gary was talking about the amount of shad coming out on a daily basis. There has been a fair amount of Garrick. Guys, the Garrick are coming out on live bait, but on top of that, there has been a tremendous amount of stumpies. So we know we were waiting for a while for the fish to come on the bite in Warner Beach, and they finally have, and the anglers are enjoying the moment right now down at Warner's. But apart from that, shad and Garrick that are coming out. Guys, there is a show that I put out this past week on the ethics to have while shad fishing, so make sure to check that out. It's something that everyone should listen to. And speaking of the Garrick, guys, Cameron Johnston has put out a very good post on the awareness of fishing for Garrick. So that's on his Cameron Johnston page. It's on his personal page. Go and have a look at that. It is something definitely to take note of. We will be discussing more of this, and if you want to see more of the story, make sure to check out our social network series that we have just launched this week. Now, let's move on to Durban. Guys, in Durban, it has been edible action of note, but what is something to be noted about on top of that edible action, which was Shad, Garrick, Stumpies, grantor of the surf, by the way, the harbor did slow down this past week, but it is the amount of Garrick that are around that are shoaling. This is outside the Durban harbor in your Bluff area, that's in the shallower waters of the basin, but also of Blue Lagoon. So there has been a fair amount of Garrick. There's been reports of Garrick being caught in the harbor. So, guys are having a good time, but like we just mentioned, the pressure on the Garrick are at an all-time high right now. So guys, please take note when you're out there fishing. Yes, we want to enjoy the fishing, we want to enjoy the spoils, but there is a limit. right? So respect those bag limits. Now, moving up to the north coast, fishing has been pretty good, especially with the shad that's been coming out. And Jesse on our podcast talks about some tackle that can be used for getting an angler fishing. On that note, guys, it is a good time to go and be catching a fish. You can't miss a shad. If there's a kid that you know or a junior angler that could benefit from this, please do, because for under 1,000 rand, you could really change someone's life and they could enjoy the spoils that we have. Now, moving on to Mtunzini Banks, the talk of the town was the river competition that happened amongst the kids over this past week. Guys, so there was over 10 species caught. The kids had a great time. They got to cook the fish for their parents, which was also something really interesting. However, I don't think I would want to taste that, but that's just my opinion. On top of that, there has been Garrick. Garrick coming out on live bait. That's on the South Banks. So not too much other reports apart from that. There has been a few shared, but far and few in between. Moving on to Richards Bay and Cape Vidal. Offshore fishing in Richards Bay is fantastic at the moment, but my highlight was the report that came from my friend Dennis at St. Lucia. Guys, he says the shad are like cockroaches. They are thick. There are loads of them. You can't get rid of them. There are just like a ton of shad out there. But on top of that, the guys are getting Garrick, which is fantastic to hear. And there has been cob that's coming on the bite. So the cob is coming out mainly in the evenings, and that's on your shad belly or shad fillets. If you are moving up to the Cape Vidal area, well, of course, shad, Garrick, but there's also some good scratching species around. So the guys are getting a lot of that bream species that's been coming on the bite. So guys, that is our saltwater report. Moving on to the freshwater, Midlands has been dubbed as the best season ever. They're calling the trout so big that they are whales. I mean, guys, look at this trout. There was a 5.5 kg trout that came out. It is absolutely tremendous. Guys, I want to give a huge shout out to Jan for providing us with these images. I mean, it's really what makes the show exciting. And if you want to hear more about the trout that's been coming out, make sure to go and listen to our podcast. Jan goes into all of this in great detail. So some great catches with the trout anglers. They are having a total blast out there. They are loving the Midlands right now. Now, speaking about the Midlands, on the bass side, Albert Falls has been a bit quiet with regards to the reports that are coming out, but I suspect that's because it's of the Albert Falls Classic happening at the end of August, where anglers are keeping the cards close to their chest. Now, apart from the bass, the carp in the Midlands area has been a bit quiet at Albert Falls. However, we did get some good reports of Midmar Dam. So guys, that is our KZN report in a nutshell. There are fish to be caught all over the place. Whether you're fishing north or south or Midlands, you have got 2 days to do it, Friday and Saturday. Sunday, we know the weather is going to be bad. Now, these are weather predictions. We have been wrong in the past, but if it says 5.5 meter swells, it's going to be pretty close. So go and take advantage over this Friday and Saturday. Let us know what you come out with, what the catches are. We'd love to put it on our social media channels and give you that bragging rights that you need. And speaking of those bragging rights, guys, make sure to check out our social network. So just a quick promo on that series. What we have in there is, as you know, when you get onto social media, there's a lot of jargon in between before you get to news. If you're looking for news, well, we live by our name. We are Angler News, and we get that news out. So go and watch our social network. We filter out all the unnecessary bits, and we bring you the best from all of the pages in South Africa. So until next week, guys, stay in touch with us, and always remember, our stocks are under a bit of pressure right now because there's such an abundance. There are some anglers that are taking advantage, so create that awareness out there by sharing good information and content. So until next week, I am Vinay Green. Always remember, keep that fishing area tidy, respect your bag limits, and fish for the future.